you know, cassettes. That's what it is. I think we love cassettes because we love the experience of music. Uh, it's not just listening to music, it's having an experience with something, in a relationship with something. I think that's why we're drawn to cassettes. Um, and then cassettes over vinyl, the discovery aspect of cassettes is what I've been really liking over this process. I had a couple hauls over the last couple of weeks. This episode, I want to talk about my second haul where I'm still getting into the ocean of cassette tapes. But what I found was that when you go to these record stores, you are having this experience. You're watching this online, everything's online, music's online, but even buying cassettes is online, right? Buying records are online. You could buy whatever record, whatever cassette you could possibly think of online if you have the money and the time and, just to search for something and get it in your mail. But when you go to a record store, you're experiencing the life of that moment. You're in that environment. And so what's cool about going from record store to record store is that I could just go to SOMA Sounds right up the road from me and just buy vinyl if I was really into vinyl. They have everything. They're great over there. But cassettes, it really is that treasure hunt. And I think that's what draws us to the cassette life. Experiencing different places and different souls of a store or of a place. That's why it's so important that your record store is a representation of the music you're selling. You were literally responsible for this music because you're creating this memories. You were creating a relationship with the music there. So, that's what I'm finding over the time. The second haul that I have, just sort of adding to collections, still like figuring this stuff out, was at Revilla Grooves Gear in Milltown, New Jersey. Before we talk about that, I actually, on my previous video, forgot to mention two tapes that I got, and I think they're pretty important tapes. I don't know how I did it. I have an infant, I have a 4-year-old, I'm running around. I forgot these two somewhere. First one is, and this was part of the haul with like U2 and TVT records collection. So I got this. This is Leonard Cohen's greatest hits. Leonard Cohen, the old, acoustic, smart music, college rock, I guess, college folk. Listening to it reminds me of that scene in Animal House where the guy is playing guitar on the steps and then Jim Belushi's character comes and smashes the guitar. It sounds like that music, but it's prolific. It's interesting music. I've always liked Leonard Cohen. Obviously, we all know Hallelujah. This Greatest Hits album, we see a lot, right? And, that cover is familiar. And the best of, it's from 1975. The best of is the one. Like, I don't know Leonard Cohen's albums. Like, I know this best of. I've seen it before. But yeah, here, take a listen. You see what I mean? Like all the girls like looking at him, like singing. And it's his lyrics aren't quite Dylan-esque, even though he has this Dylan feel to him. They're a little bit more romantic, a little bit more like relationship based. It's like he's the first emo artist of all time. But what's cool about this on cassette is that if you have that life. It feels like it has this lifetime. the crackliness of the cassette really lends itself to his voice and the instruments behind there. So I love like walking with this on. I'll walk the dog with this one a couple times. I can imagine myself like walking through an Ivy League school with like the leaves on the ground and like my moccasins on. I used to do that with Simon and Garfunkel albums on my iPod at Penn State. It's great. It's a great. He's really good. I gotta figure out more about him because I love Dylan, and I feel like he's the. I mean, look how serious he is on that. Good old man. I mean, how old is he there? Right? Is he like 30? He seems ancient. Second one, also from the 70s. This is an addition again to that U2 haul. And I was going through, it was my first haul, so I'm looking at just titles that I know I want to build a collection around. And I think like this album is something that's sort of in the bedrock of everybody's like musical journey, and in everybody's collection. Bitches Brew by Miles Davis. This is one side of it, and I forget which side it is, but this is it says here this cassette was originally released as 16BO 0908. So if you know what that means, please let me know. On the cover it says digitally remastered directly from the original analog tapes, which is, and you can tell this tape feels, it has this sound to it that it has more of a higher production sound to it. Listen. But what's cool about this on tape, I mean, it's higher end, right? Because it's off of the master tapes. But what's cool about this on cassette is that it paints a picture a little bit more than if you were listening on Spotify or on a CD. Like, you're really experiencing the grittiness of this album. Miles Davis is the man. I mean, it's the same guy who did Birth of Cool. What was that, like 57 or something? So, 14 years later, I mean, what growth as an artist, right? Like, what? I mean, I'm sure, like, Taylor Swift, like, I don't know, I don't listen to her stuff, but, like, it's relatively the same, right, as it was 14 years ago, or, like, any, like, new artists right now. I'm trying to think of, like, in the rap scene, like, J. Cole, what was that, 2010 to, like, now. It's in the world, he progressed. Kendrick progressed in a way, but, like, when you go from Birth to Cool, or what was that first one with the Big Bang, and then if you go, and then what was the other one that he did? Jesus, what is it called? It's like the classic one, one from the 60s with Coltrane and McCoy Tyner. Kind of Blue. That's it. Sorry. Somebody at home's like, it's Kind of Blue. Kind of Blue. He goes from that to like this like sort of psychedelic version, and I think I remember reading somewhere that he heard Sly and the Family Stone at Newport, and he was like, I need that sound, and he comes up with this. And what's cool about this again is the feel, the experience of Bitches Brew on cassette. It feels different than when you were to listen to it. So yeah, I guess that's like the theme of today, right? So I got all this at Soma Lounge. And I'm getting a little long in my video already, which I apologize for. Um, so, my second haul, and that's the reason that we're here, right? My second haul was at Revilla Grooves Gear down in Milltown, New Jersey. It's outside of New Brunswick, just a couple miles outside. Was buying a car, I was buying a minivan, right? Like, again, kids. I went all of North Jersey, pretty much, and Central Jersey to find, like, the price, right? But what's cool, and what you should do, and as you know, you're probably a dad or a mom of a certain age if you're into this, right? But you really have to go from car dealer to car dealer to just see what the bottom line price is, because it's not like, hey, this is the price, right? You gotta like figure it out. So I was at like 4 dealerships, and then the fourth one, I'm like, when I'm at these different places, I should just look up a record store. So I finally bought my car. I bought the Kia Carnival. It's like a minivan, but it sort of doesn't look like a minivan, whatever. But as I was waiting for the guy behind, the Oz figure who like you buy the car, you agree to the car, and then you have to wait, and then you talk to the guy and they try to upsell you with like, hey, do our tire thing for $2,000. I was waiting for that, and I looked up Revilla, and I was like, gnawing at the teeth like to get over there, because my experience at SOMA Sounds was so good that I was like, let's keep the train rolling. Let's move, baby. So I bought the car, and the very first thing I did with the car was drive to Revilla, which was like right around the corner. Revilla is cool. Like, it was another cool spot. You go in, it's a small place. It looks new with its new architecture. Like, it's probably like a new building. And it has all these records. And this is the first, the first thing that I regret in my tape collecting was that I walked in, and immediately on the right, you just see a couple tapes in a case, like a glass case. And I'm like, okay, that's probably all they have. And it's 3 sets of tapes, all 3 De La Soul albums. And what are they called? I forgot. God. The first album with 3 is the magic number, and then Stakes is High, and then Balloon, something or other. I forget the other album name. I love Stakes is High though. It's a Jay Dilla produced some of it. He's a legendary rap producer. The flow of it is so good. This was unopened tapes. All 3 of them are unopened tapes. About $20 each per cassette. So they haven't been touched. Brand new. I don't know if they were a reissue or just never out of the box. But they were sitting there at $20. But again, this is my second haul, and I want to just build my collection. So I'm like, all right, so I can buy one of those, or I could probably buy like 4 or 5 used. So I went to the section, and we'll get to why I regret it, because I should have just got it, because I didn't find any hip hop stuff since. Not one tape, with the exception of Cool Mo D at Factory Records over in Dover, New Jersey. And I don't know about Cool Mo D. So, the first thing I saw was for $3, Cheap Trick. This is from 1988. As you could tell by their hairdos. I saw Cheap Trick in like the early 2000s. They Cake opened for them. It was a great show. I thought, okay, so if this is from the 80s, I may have this U2 experience again, where like I sort of like a raw 80s feel to it. So for $3, I'm like, yeah, let's just get it. I don't know too much about Cheap Trick. I know that 70 song. I think No Surrender is another one. Um, this tape kind of stinks. I didn't love it. It's like too 80s-y. Like it's too 80s-y. Um, I don't know. It just felt. I don't even know if I don't think I brought it down. It's out of the case. But maybe you can listen to it. I imagine, and from what I'm getting, is that these type of tapes you can find at a lot of places that just sort of change hands a lot. Didn't love this. I'm gonna go. The second thing that caught my eye for. It doesn't have a price tag. It was like $3 or $4. The Philadelphia soundtrack. And you know, probably the same for the same reason that somebody originally bought this soundtrack is why I bought it, and it's Bruce Springsteen's Streets of Philadelphia, which is for how it was recorded, which was, I believe, on tape. I believe Springsteen did this on tape, you know, in a Nebraska Ghost of Tom Joad-esque thing. I believe the story goes, and I'm not looking any of this stuff up. Actually, just a sidetrack. I'm not looking any of my albums that any of the tape cassettes. I'm not looking up like the reviews from the time or like the order of which they came in. I like the idea of just going off the information from the tape cassette itself. But when you listen to Streets of Philadelphia, the lyrics are great. The mood is so good that he does this. And Springsteen, since like '73, you know, just great. He's a great songwriter, and this sounds different. You know how that song goes, right? But I wanted to experience. So that kind of brought me to Philadelphia soundtrack. The movie's also like really good. And I kind of like put it again because I'm like, you know, from the suburbs of Philly, so like I was kind of put it against Springsteen. I thought he was like as a kid I was like, he's just calling Philly like dirty. I don't know. I get like offended by it. But if you listen to the lyrics of it, it's about AIDS. Obviously, I mean I should have known that. He wrote it for the album. But if you listen to the lyrics, it's you know, it's about withering, like literally dying and walking the streets of Philadelphia. As I thought maybe it was a reflection of the city. It's just a reflection of what this character must be feeling at that time. So, you know, giving a second listen on this kind of opened the doors a little bit. Also on here, Peter Gabriel, It's in Your Eyes, which is a really great song. I'm not a huge Peter Gabriel fan or really a Genesis fan, but that song rocks. They have a Spin Doctor song on it. They have an Indigo song on it. Didn't love those. And then there's another song, original song by Neil Young. I believe the story goes that the director of this film, which I forget off the top of my head, the director wanted Neil Young to do the original song, and then he did the song Philadelphia, and it was like just too depressing. Let's see what it sounds like. Not Philadelphia. I don't know where I left off, which is the cool part about tapes. So I don't know where this is. Oh, I think this is Philadelphia. Ooh.
Sometimes I think that I know what love's all about, and when I see the light, I know I'll be alright.
It's more haunting, right? On cassette, this song by Neil Young, um, it feels like it's coming from the attic. right? My phone, my thing got a little messed up. There we go. So this is worth it. If you can get this for $3 or whatever, I think it's great to have in the collection. And they probably have it in a lot of record stores. I imagine it's one of those things that gets plopped around from hand to hand. So yeah, maybe the person who had this originally bought this for the same reason. And maybe they experienced it the same way as I did. All right. We have 2 more and we're out of here. And you know, that's it. The other thing that caught my eyes, and I mentioned this before, what I like about it is these are cheap. This was $1.99. Gives you an opportunity to buy something on the cheap and discover it for the first time. This is Steve Earle's Copperhead Road. Where we're going, we don't need roads. But this is like alt country from the late 80s. I believe it's 88. So, you know, he's come out with this right around when Uncle Tupelo is around. And there's something about country from the 80s, sort of gritty country that has been lost over the last couple of years, probably the last like 20 years, right? Steve Earle has that. Ooh, baby's getting up pretty soon, so I gotta get through it. Steve Earle has that feel, right? That old school country. Like when you listen to this. When you hear this, like you're imagining yourself like on a dirt road. You're imagining the stories, these gritty stories of people in pickup trucks, on dirt roads, right? Living these stories, living life before the internet, where they're just sort of experiencing things. Their minds aren't sort of warped by everything the world has to offer. You could feel that in the music. All right, so I do have to wrap up. It looks like the baby is up. But I'll end it here. The other album I got was Rolling Stones. I'll talk about this on the next episode, because that's a really great one. But this was great. I love Wilco, and I love early Wilco, and I love Uncle Tupelo. And you hear this, and you're like, oh, this makes sense, that this came right before that. And the tape aspect of it makes it that much better. I don't think I would like this if I just listened to it randomly on Spotify or on Sirius XM, or on CD. I don't know. I don't think I would. But I like it. The sound draws me. So that's Steve Earle's Copperhead Road. Copperhead Road. I don't know if this is in his catalog or not. All right, baby's crying. I gotta go. I will come back with the ideas of my third haul, which was another good one. So stay tuned, I guess. But thanks for watching. It's cool just talking about tapes. All right, bye.